Sgt Bowe Bergdahl, hero or deserter? And meet the Taliban 5. Should we be worried?
I wish they would have died in jail.
And Susan Rice did it again. The White House scrambling to fix her new talking point problem.
He served the United States with honor and distinction.
On the Record investigates tonight. What is the video everyone is talking about? We can't keep our eyes off it. The Taliban released in the first video a propaganda video of the moment they handed over Sgt Bowe Bergdahl. That is, handed him over to American forces. And first you see Bergdahl sitting in a Taliban truck. You see him here, twitching and blinking constantly. It's almost as if he were just unblindfolded or something. Then the Taliban quickly moves him across a field where an American helicopter is waiting to whisk him away. U.S. troops frisking Bergdahl for any explosives before they put him on the helicopter. A dramatic scene, and yes, America wants Sgt Bergdahl back. But did President Obama get a bum deal? Could he have gotten him back without a high-risk prisoner swap? Fox News is confirming the Obama administration was pursuing a different deal as late as December 2013. For the very latest, Fox News chief intelligence correspondent Catherine Herridge joins us.
Well, thanks, Greta. A military intelligence source confirmed to me that there was a second track that was being pursued as late as December 2013, and that second track involved an exchange for cash, not for the Taliban prisoners. And the goal for the U.S. team was to set up a dialogue with Pakistan leadership who had direct ties to the Taliban. That would be the leverage point, and that was their directive. But in December of last year, the whole operation was effectively put on hold, and they were told the administration wanted to pursue a prisoner swap instead.
All right, so who was holding Bergdahl in December when this discussion was going on? Was it the Taliban, or was it one of these, another part of the sort of the al-Qaeda network?
Based on my reporting, he was being held, or I'll say under the control of the Haqqani network inside Pakistan in the tribal areas. What happened, the way it was described to me, is that Bergdahl was picked up by the Afghan Taliban and then transferred to the Haqqani network. The Haqqani network is like kind of the godfather of these organizations, the big power broker in the region.
Well, why would they give? Why would the Haqqani network give him back to the Taliban so the Taliban could get the bounty? In this instance, 5. If the Haqqani probably wanted money to begin with, because that's, I mean, what I understand is they're more interested in money, not bodies.
Well, this makes sense as to why we were pursuing the money strategy that was kind of put on hold in December. To answer your question, this is the group with the most clout and the most bona fides, if you will. This is the one that can make things happen. So, in effect, the Afghan Taliban has a chip with them. We gave you the American, you've cut a deal, you owe us. That's how it works in that part of the world.
Is there any reason to be confident that we didn't do both? I mean, everyone's talking about...
This is an excellent point. It's entirely possible. That's the one thing the administration has not ruled out, is that money was exchanged in this deal as well. We don't know the answer to that.
Well, we'll keep digging for that one. Catherine, thank you.
Thank you.
And tonight, the White House has a familiar problem on its hands, trying to talk its way out of a National Security Advisor Susan Rice's botched talking points. Yes, first Benghazi. Well, now Rice has done it again.
He served the United States with honor and distinction. Sgt Bergdahl wasn't simply a hostage. He was an American prisoner of war, captured on the battlefield. It wasn't unknown to Congress. We also had indications that his health was growing more fragile. He is said to be walking and in good physical condition.
Fox News chief White House correspondent Ed Henry is traveling with the president. He joins us live from Brussels. Ed, there seems to be some damage control from what Susan Rice said.
That's right, Greta. A senior official tonight telling me, look, here's what she meant to say. She did not mean to say he served with honor and distinction in terms of some heroic status, but that what Susan Rice meant on ABC on Sunday morning was that, look, he volunteered to serve his country. He did that. He then was in 5 years of brutal captivity, which is true. We can't deny that. Those are facts. But the problem is that when you suggest honor and distinction, it suggests that maybe Sgt. Bergdahl went, the extra mile and was a hero, when in fact Susan Rice and other top officials were well aware when she made those comments Sunday morning that at the least there are allegations, not facts yet, but allegations that Bergdahl was actually a deserter, that he had left his unit at least twice. And so that is curious that that narrative was being pushed on Sunday morning, that basically he was a hero, when in fact it's a much more complicated picture.
To say, I've got the transcript in front of me. Well, George, meaning Stephanopoulos, this is a very special situation. Sgt. Bergdahl wasn't simply a hostage. He was an American prisoner of war captured on the battlefield. Is there anyone in the White House who says he was captured on the battlefield as a prisoner of war?
Well, that specific phrase, maybe not. But the bottom line is, I think what she's was trying to say there was, look, we did not want to leave someone behind in Afghanistan as the president is winding down the war. And that in and of itself is a principle that the president is standing strong on. Top officials tell me tonight he's not backing down from that. But the circumstances of this can't be ignored. And that's what's being dug into, not just by Republicans on the Hill, obviously, but Democrats like Dianne Feinstein. So for Susan Rice over the weekend to suggest that not just he was a prisoner of war, but that he had served with honor and distinction, when in fact there are other facts and allegations that suggest otherwise, certainly brings to mind previous Sunday morning TV appearances. That's why John McCain today said on Imus in the Morning on Fox Business, maybe Susan Rice shouldn't be on the Sunday shows anymore.
Ed, thank you. Especially thank you because I know it's late in Brussels. Thank you, Ed. And Congress slamming the Obama administration for not warning them about plans to release 5 terror leaders. Representative Peter King saying the president seems awful casual about hardened killers. And Congressman King is not the only one who is steamed.
The transfers went ahead with no consultation, totally not following the law.
I believe he bypassed Congress because this was done for political reasons.
What the president decided to do is ignore a process that's been in place to keep us all safe.
When the opportunity presented itself and we could successfully recover him, we acted quickly to do so.
We should have been consulted, that the law should have been followed.
And Representative Peter King joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta.
Sir, the law is pretty clear, 30 days. I understand emergencies could arise where you can't do the 30 days, but you can pick up the phone and at least give a heads up, 5 minutes before or anything. What is the explanation that you have that they didn't comply with the 30 days?
Well, in this case, because he was dealing with the military, he could claim that as commander-in-chief, his constitutional power as commander-in-chief would supersede a statute. That the Constitution trumps it. Whether or not that's true or accurate, the courts can decide that. Excuse me, Greta. But the fact is that he had the obligation, whether it's legal or not, to contact the leaders of the intelligence committees, the leaders of the House and the Senate, because to have any kind of a dealing at all, I don't know of any president, and I've been in Congress 22 years now, who at a moment involving national security did not contact the House leadership and the Senate leadership. It's absolutely required to me as a matter of protocol, whether or not it's required by statute. And even, for instance, with bin Laden, the killing of bin Laden, the Intelligence Committee leaders were told about that 3 or 4 months in advance, and that never leaked out. So I can only think that he didn't do it here because he just didn't want to hear any opposition to it. He just wanted to get it over and done with. In his mind, the war in Afghanistan is just about over. He's pulling the troops out. He's going to try to empty out Guantanamo, and he wanted to bring back the last person that was being held captive.
Well, there were a lot of people who were opposed to it, even members of Congress. So he may not want to go back, but that's what Senator Lindsey Graham says, and we have another congresswoman joining us. But I'm curious, what is your thought about the fact why Qatar being the country of choice, and can we trust them to do the monitoring of the 5?
No, we cannot. I have no faith in Qatar at all. The fact is that they play both sides. To think that we are going to entrust the security of American troops in Afghanistan to Qatar monitoring the activities of these 5 terrorists is beyond me. And the president is so casual and calm when he talks about it. I mean, maybe if we're the British, if we're the Australians, if it were some other strong country we can count on, but to have the Qataris who have basically played both sides, at best they're a 50-50 supporter. So no, this to me, we have to assume that one way or the other, either they'll be back on the battlefield or they'll be giving strategic advice to the Taliban, and or most likely they will be raising money, and that money will be used to buy weapons, to buy munitions, to kill our troops.
And we're standing by for Senator Chambliss, who's in a classified briefing about it right now on Capitol Hill. He's going to be joining us soon. We'll learn a little bit more about what the White House is saying in just moments. But Representative, thank you, sir.
Greta, thank you very much.
And there's new information tonight about Sgt Bergdahl. Fox News national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin joins us live from the Pentagon. Jennifer.
Greta, defense officials who have read the Army's 2010 in-depth investigation into Bergdahl's disappearance say that Bergdahl walked off base once prior to 2009 out of boredom, according to those interviewed by military investigators. Today's propaganda video released by the Taliban shows Bergdahl blinking rapidly as his Taliban captor approaches to say goodbye. It appears as if his eyes are trying to adjust to the sunlight, suggesting he had been blindfolded just moments before. The video is 17 minutes long and shows one of the Taliban fighters holding a white flag as they approach the Special Operations Black Hawk helicopter. The U.S. team shake hands with the Taliban during the handover, and as they turn to leave, they pat Bergdahl down, not once but twice, to make sure he is not armed or wearing a suicide bomber's vest. Before the exchange, a member of the Taliban is heard telling Bergdahl in Pashto, "Don't come back to Afghanistan." Another then laughed and said, "You won't make it out alive next time." Members of Bergdahl's unit described the time after he left their base in 2009.
We heard over the radio chatter that there was an American looking for someone who spoke English so he could talk to the Taliban. I heard that right over the radio and right from the interpreter's lips when he said it. And that alarmed everybody. We knew at that point he had already walked away, but now we knew that he was attempting to contact the Taliban on his own accord.
Bergdahl looked healthy in the video. He was clean-shaven and wearing traditional Afghan garb. He has still not spoken to his parents. Defense Secretary Hagel pushed back on the idea that any of his unit mates died in search of Bergdahl. Hagel spoke to the Bergdahls for the first time since their son's release earlier today for about 10 minutes. He told them their son's reintegration was their top priority right now. Greta.
Jennifer, I know that Secretary Hagel has signed off on this, but former Secretary of Defense Panetta had not signed off for it. He was opposed to the earlier deal. What sort of, when you get down below the Secretary level to the other people at the Pentagon, what are they saying about this? Do they think that this was a good deal and a smart move?
Look, I think there's a lot of churn here at the Pentagon. The official line, of course, is that they had no other choice. This is what they needed to do to bring an American home. The war was ending, and there was a feeling that Guantanamo is going to be closed at some point anyway, and that these 5 Taliban leaders were going to be released somehow anyway, so they might as well get an American home and tie up that loose end before the war is over. So there just is a great deal of sort of gritting of teeth and feeling that this was what they had to do, but they're not happy that they had to release these Taliban leaders, and certainly they didn't anticipate the firestorm that's erupted from the former unit mates, which I'm really surprised that they didn't anticipate, because supposedly in the 15-6 report, the Army investigation, there were indications that there was this feeling among the unit mates that he had walked off and that he was some kind of a deserter.
Jennifer, thank you. And note to the viewers, we're waiting for Senator Chambliss, who's been in this classified briefing on Capitol Hill, to come join us soon. Tell us what he's learned that he can tell us about what went down. Questions have also been raised about Sgt Bergdahl's father since his son was captured. Here's a video he posted on YouTube in May of 2011.
I'm the father of captured U.S. soldier Bowe Robert Bergdahl. These are my thoughts. I can remain silent no longer. Strangely to some, we must also thank those who have cared for our son for almost 2 years. Mullah Sanjin, the Haqqanis, and others who have played a role in sheltering the American prisoner. We know our son is a prisoner and at the same time a guest in your home. We understand the rationale the Islamic Emirate has made through its videos. No family in the United States understands the detainee issue like ours. Stare me shibo. Assalamu alaikum.
And the Pentagon says Sgt Bergdahl has still not spoken to his family, but today Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel did call the Bergdahl family, as Jennifer noted. He told them the department's focus was on Sgt Bergdahl's health and reintegration. And there's breaking news tonight from Sgt Bergdahl's hometown, a big change in plans for the soldiers' homecoming. That live report is coming up. Also, National Security Advisor Susan Rice in hot water again. Former Congressman Alan West is calling Rice a delusional liar. Congressman West is here coming up. And any minute now, senators will be coming out of that classified briefing on the Bergdahl swap. As soon as they come out, Senator Saxby Chambliss, ranking member of the Intel Committee, will join us. There's breaking news from Capitol Hill coming up.